Hi, this is Mitch Dupuis with AutoQuip Automation, and today I'll be showing you how to repair a fluid regulator.
To purchase a repair kit, contact your local AutoQuip distributor.
So to start the rebuild, we'll grab one of our wrenches and take off the air pilot. And we'll grab another wrench and take off our fluid inlet. Next, we'll take an Allen and remove our fluid outlet and pop out our fluid outlet O-ring with a small flathead screwdriver. Next, we'll take another Allen key and remove the 4 bolts holding in the cap plate. Inside the cap plate will be our Viton O-ring. Make sure to remove that. Next, we'll take the AQ spanner wrench and remove our spring plunger. And below that will be our spring. Next, we're going to take another Allen key and remove our 8 perimeter bolts to take off the air side housing. Next, we'll remove our air side housing. On the back side of the housing, you will find the retainer. We're going to use another Allen key to remove the 4 countersunk cap screws to remove the retainer. Once we have that removed, we'll use a socket wrench to hold the needle and our AQ spanner wrench to remove the air side plate. After that, the diaphragm will come right off. And now we will turn the needle to remove the fluid side plate. The needle and the fluid side plate. Now we will need a small flathead screwdriver again and our hammer to delicately remove the seat. By taking the flathead screwdriver to the edge of the seat and lightly tapping, and it will fall right out. A couple things to check before continuing are your needle and seat. Make sure there is no corrosion or buildup of material that would cause an improper seal. This would cause leaking. Another thing to check is the retainer for grooves dug in by the spring, which will cause inaccurate cracking pressures. Now that we have finished the disassembly, we're going to throw away our 3 encapsulated O-rings. One going to be around the needle seat, another will be around the fluid side plate, and the final one will be around the fluid inlet. We're going to use a flathead screwdriver to pop those off. Don't worry about breaking them, we will be replacing them. Now that we have fully completed the disassembly of the regulator, we will start by emptying the contents of the repair kit onto the table. To start off, we will replace the 3 encapsulated O-rings, one on the fluid inlet, one on the needle seat, and the final one on the fluid side plate. We're going to take our fluid housing and put our needle seat inside of it and press down with a socket. Next, we will take our fluid outlet O-ring and put it in the countersunk hole and attach our fluid outlet. Now, we will take our needle and put it through the back of the needle seat, apply dope to the threads, and screw on our fluid side plate. Now we will take our diaphragm and put it over the needle's threads and spin down. And on top of that, we will put the air side plate. Now we are going to torque down our air side plate to the needle using a torque wrench and the AQ spanner wrench. We'll put the spanner wrench on the air side plate and the torque wrench on the needle. And we're going to torque to 15 inch-pounds. Now that we've done that, we'll put this off to the side and grab our air side housing. Next, we will put the retainer back inside the air side housing and take our 440 screws to attach. Be careful of over torquing these screws so you do not strip out the bolt. Now, we'll put the air side housing on the fluid side housing with the air pilot hole in any desired location. And attach with the 8 1032 bolts. I'm going to snug these up because we're going to torque them after. Now, in a crisscross motion shown in the manual, we're going to torque the bolts down to 20 inch-pounds. Now, if you have our old disc spring, you're going to put this in next with the feet face down to the retainer. If you have our new wavy spring, orientation does not matter. On top of that, we're going to put our spring plunger back on and screw down with our AQ spanner wrench until it seats. Be careful to over torque this because it is directly tied to the needle. If you overspin, you'll start spinning your needle and you might strip your needle. Next, you can apply a little Vaseline to your Viton cap O-ring and you're going to place it inside your cap. And attach the 4 bolts to attach the cap to the air side housing. Now, we're going to take our air fitting and put it in the air side housing. Once again, careful to over torque because you will break it. And finally, we're going to put our fluid inlet and tighten down with a wrench. Now that we have completely repaired the fluid regulator, we're going to go over to the test rig and test it. This is our fluid regulator test rig. The rig consists of a tank of mineral oil, a dual diaphragm pump, a fluid outlet gauge, an air inlet gauge, a flow meter with an orifice of a handheld spray gun to return back into the mineral tank. To begin the test, we will attach our fluid regulator to the dual diaphragm pump. We will attach a fluid outlet to our gauge and our air inlet to our air pilot. The first test that we're going to do is to make sure that our needle and seat are sealed correctly. To do so, we're going to apply 80 pounds of pressure from our dual diaphragm pump into the inlet of the fluid regulator while keeping the air pilot off. Now we'll create back pressure by closing a valve on the back end of our outlet regulator to make sure that no pressure is building up. So our gauge staying at 0 proves that our seat is working. So right now, 80 pounds of fluid is pressing against that seat. If there was a leak, it would leak around, come into our outlet hose, stop at our cutoff valve, and gain pressure on our fluid gauge. Because it is not, we know that our seat is sealed. Now we will open up our fluid to continue the system and turn on our air regulator to 30 psi. Fluid will start to travel through the system and we will start to get a reading on our flow rate. And we have it set up so that at 30 pounds of inlet pressure, we will have 25 pounds of fluid pressure and a flow rate of about 300 cubic centimeters per minute. Now, the second test will be to check the backflow pressure. By leaving our air pilot on, we will close our outlet valve again and make sure that our pressure equalizes and stays within a 5 psi range of our air inlet pressure. So our air inlet pressure is going to be at 30. We want to see that our outlet pressure is between 25 and 35 and can hold itself for over an extended amount of time. You now have a successfully repaired fluid regulator.